Good evening, Arsenal community. Hashtag Highbury Squad. Hashtag Squaddies. The best hashtag, the Arsenal Women's Show with your resident guest hosts, Albert JTV and Demian Arriaga, my brother from another mother. It's been a while. This is a pre-record, so as we speak now, it is Tuesday the 21st of January, UK time, just gone 7:15. But people, there is so much to talk about since me and Demian were reunited quite a few months ago. But before we get into it, people, let's smash the legendary Highbury Squad intro.
Mind the gap between the train and the platform. Please stand clear of the discussion doors. The next stop is Highbury Squad.
And there you have it, people. You know what? Sophie's not with us, Demian.
But
she is with us. That intro is just beautiful.
It's the best. How do you... I mean, what are you going to do, man? That's just the best intro, and then the quality dips after that. I'm sorry, guys, but you're stuck with me and Albert, and it's not as great as without Sophie. Let's just be honest.
But you know what, Demian? I'm a great believer in. I have to say this. It's a famous saying. Quality over quantity. And that's what I agree with the show, 100%. So
I agree. And speaking of quality, I have to say right out of the gate, I'm sorry. Speaking of Sophie, the past show that she did with Rebecca Lowe, I mean, I don't want to take my hat off because my hair is a complete mess, but Jesus, what a show. That was unbelievable. Obviously with David Ornstein as well, but the Rebecca Lowe show, chef's kiss, what a great show. What a great insight of these amazing women. So just wanted to say that before I forgot.
No, great shout, because Sophie's been cooking with her shows, man.
My goodness.
I know she's not going to say it, but that's why I'm here. That's why we're the guest host, so we can big her up. I don't care if it's biased, but it's true. Yeah. I watched the show with Rebecca Lowe. Brilliant. I didn't know she's a Palace fan, actually. And obviously big up getting Ornstein, because he doesn't just turn up on anybody's platform.
I know. It's not that I was shocked that she was able to get David, but I just didn't have it on my radar for some reason. I didn't see the notification or whatever. And then I opened YouTube and I see her with David. And I'm like, that's some next level stuff. So very impressive. Very impressive. And again, our girl holds her own. She's no second fiddle to anybody. She's outstanding. And I'm really happy that she gets to interview those amazing people.
Yeah, great stuff. Great shout. So people, when you do watch this back, the second after I say what I'm about to say, obliterate the like button right now. Just do it straight away. Do it. Get them likes up through the roof, man. We want them algorithms smoking. But most importantly, Demian, before I do some housekeeping, let's give a tip our hat or give a shout out to the legend that is Jen Beattie renouncing her retirement from football. Demian, have a few words, my friend.
Wow, I have several things to say. I'll be as quick as possible. When I got into Arsenal Women in 2019, Jen Beattie was definitely one of the people that got me into the club, especially with her social media stuff. And I don't quite remember if she was at City at the time, but she was in the sort of Arsenal ecosystem. And I loved her playing. I thought she was a great defender. I wish she would have gotten more play time, but obviously through some injuries here and there, and obviously during the lockdown, her cancer diagnosis, and that whole thing was so meaningful to me. And we both respect these women, as athletes, as people, but when they're faced with such adversity that I don't know how I would ever cope with that, I imagine I would crumble. And to see somebody like her being so strong after such a serious thing happened to her and come out as a survivor, it was unbelievable. You know, people like you and others have the ability to see Arsenal women often. I only get to see them once a year, once every couple of years. And I saw her play at the FA Cup final that they lost to Chelsea on December 5th of 2021. And it was a very special moment to see that. And obviously we lost and it was brutal, but I wrote an Instagram post, a picture of Jen back then. And I said that, you know, some people claim or tell their grandchildren or whatever, like, I saw Messi play at the Camp Nou, or I saw Thierry on replay at the Emirates, or I saw Dennis Bergkamp play at Highbury, or whatever you want to say. And I get to say, not to children because I don't have kids, but to whoever wants to listen and whoever doesn't want to listen, I'll tell them I saw Jen Beattie play at Wembley. And that is something that I hold dear. And also, she's a music fan. So that, for me, it touches on another part of my core and my feelings. And, she had posted a video with Leah a couple of years ago or a year ago. I don't know, even remember where it was. And they did a Kelly Clarkson cover. Yeah. And then I took that video and I kind of like spliced it, and I played drums and bass and guitar and all this other stuff as a tip of the hat to, like, let's start a band, ha ha ha. And they both watched the video. They liked it. They interacted with it. And that just made me complete, and it made me really happy. Sadly, I didn't see her play with Bay FC. The times that I could go to San Jose and watch her play, she wasn't getting any play time. So for me to sort of like invest and go to the stadium and yada yada yada, not knowing if she was going to play at the time, it wasn't financially responsible for me, so I never really did that. But thankfully, I had seen her play a couple of times, actually, or once before. I don't think she played. She played the last time I went. But anyway, all this to say, much respect to her, what she has done for the sport, what she has done for Arsenal, what she has done for every team that she has played, to remain so humble and so amazing and real. It's nothing short of inspiring and motivating. And she's, when I think about like having female sheroes and superheroes and people that I admire and respect, she's on top of that list, beyond anything athletic as well. So that is all I have to say. I could say more, but that's what I'm going to shut up now about it. Thank you for allowing me to say that stuff.
Yeah, no worries. 16-year career. So, 166 appearances for Arsenal across 2 spells. 143 games for Scotland as well. And what she said was, she said, I'm nervous, I'm excited, and all the things, but I'm ready for what's next. She added. To be honest, I think it's probably been on my mind for a couple of years now. It's probably been on my mind even before I retired from Scotland. Since I've been doing the broadcasting a little bit more, I've just had so much enjoyment from it. Leaving Arsenal at any point was always going to be hard, so it's been on my mind for a while. Not being at my best anymore, I just felt like it was the right time. Jen, when you know, you know. So, congrats on your career, and happy retirement. There'll be more things to come.
Absolutely, she kills it on a podcast world. Sorry to interrupt, my friend. Sorry.
Go on. Yeah, broadcasting is your oyster, my love. So,
she's so good at it. She's so good.
Yeah, people. We're going to get the housekeeping out of the way before we delve into plenty to talk about Arsenal women. And I have to start with this amazing woman, Ruth Beck Art, people. She has her own website now, ruthbeckart.com. You can get 20% off with the code Highbury Squad at Ruth Beck Art, and you see that her address going on the bottom. Ruth Beck. I'm going to get some of her actual work on screen. Actually, I did chop it up a little bit. Let me go quickly. Ruth is so multi-talented; it's unreal. Watercolors painting is her forte, but she's done pin badges, she's done logos, she's done stickers, Demian, she's done everything. You can see the detail that goes into Ruth's work. There you go, charm bracelets. You got a pin badge. Is yours gold? There's also the picture of Black Stennis when we won the Conte Cup last season, kissing the trophy. And as you can see, the Islington Sports Bar gaff, as you can see on your screen, people. Amazing work. So people, do check out Ruth's work. Like I said, you can get 20% off with the code Highbury Squad. So do support the amazing Ruth Beck Art, people. If I can get it back off the screen. There you go. And there's one more bit of housekeeping. Actually, there's 2 more bits of housekeeping. Zenith Coins, people. Powered by Zenith Coins. Now I'm gonna get the actual coin up on the screen, because I can't just describe it because it looks too good to just talk about it. It is here somewhere. Bear with me, people. It's a little intro video. 10 seconds. There you go. Spinning top. There you go, people. Beautiful, beautiful coin. There are some other ones. I've actually got one myself as well.
I have one. I'm trying to show
it.
Demian. Incredible.
There you go, people. Demian
Highbury
is
Squad.
showing it. There he is.
It's amazing. Amazing. I have an Arsenal one too, but that's not from them.
Yeah.
Is it from them? I don't even know. I'm sorry.
And there's one more final bit of housekeeping, Demian. Of course, we will never forget our main man, the legend that is Super Kevin Campbell. Kevin Campbell Foundation. The link is in the bio. I'll get it up on screen as well. If you give me 2 moments, bear with me, people. Where's it gone? It is here somewhere. Where's it gone now, Demian? I did have it here. Where's it gone? There it is. We are there a minute. Where's it gone? I thought I did have it, but it's not there, people.
No, while you look at it, I want to mention something really quickly regarding just Ruth, Beck, and art in general. As you can tell by my accent, I am not British. I'm not English. I have an American accent, but I'm from Venezuela. And London has always obviously been very far from me. And no matter how many pictures I can see of London and blah, 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 it's just not the same feeling as when you're there. But art like that makes it so sort of iconic, and the fish and chip shops and all these things, it just makes it like so beautiful and also like nostalgic, and also like you can imagine being there, and it's more welcoming than the actual building and the actual picture.
Yeah.
So there's something to be said about that makes it kind of that, it makes you feel that much closer to it. I don't know if that makes any sense, but I absolutely love that. And I've been lucky enough to go to the Tollington once. I don't know if lucky is necessarily the right term. I've been there. No disrespect. I don't drink. I haven't had a drink of alcohol in over 13 years. So I had no real business going there. But it was just really cool. So I just wanted to mention that because it's just so lovely, and it's a kind reminder to everybody that's in England that can watch not only the girls play, but the men's squad as well. How very lucky you are. And I'm so excited whenever I see you go, whether it's on your own or with Dan Potts or whoever you go see. I'm so happy. It's like you won an award, or you just won, you graduated from college or something. It's just that feeling of like, oh, I'm so happy for you. I'm so happy for you. I'm so happy for you. So it's just lovely. It's just lovely.
No, great shot. There's the picture, Demian. I've got it. Look at him, man.
Yes.
That is super Kev. That mural is beautiful, man. But yeah, people, like I said, Sophie plugs it obviously as well, being Sophie is obviously an ambassador for the Kevin Campbell Foundation. They do have an Instagram page. They do have a Facebook page, and I'm pretty sure they have an X page as well. I'm sure they do. So let me get the details up. There's a talking. They have it, people. So if you have a spare change or burn a hole in your wallet and donate to the Kevin Campbell Foundation, and most importantly, follow the social media pages as well, because there is one on Instagram and definitely one on Facebook too. So people, we need to keep the legacy and the memories and we need to keep them going, people. Super Kev. But Demian, further ado, let's get into it. So I was at work. Obviously, there's a time difference between me, Demian, and Sophie, as you can imagine.
Yes.
I don't know how many hours it is, Demian. Tell me.
I think 8 hours, 7 hours, maybe.
Right. Yeah. So I'm at work, people, and I've obviously got the notifications on my phone for anything Sky Sports News or BBC Sport. And it comes through. I think the exact time it came through, Demian, if I remember, was 10:35 a.m. UK time. That Jonas Eidevall had resigned. I think one win out of the first 5. Yes, Jonas Eidevall had resigned. Before I bring Demian in, it was a surprise, and it wasn't a surprise. I'll tell you why it was a surprise, because the rumblings had been going on for quite a while. I went to some of the games last season for the Arsenal women's. Obviously, Demian, you've watched them. Sophie's watched them. We have a massive support for the Arsenal women's team, not just in the UK, by the way.
Right.
But the football and the start to the season for the 24-25 season, going off the back of how it ended the season before, it's poor. It's been poor. And it came through. He resigned. 3 years in charge. Yes, there was a season we ran, I think Chelsea pretty close. I think we lost the league by 2 points, I believe it was, if I got that correct. I'm sure someone will correct me on Demian. But Demian, obviously you guys were behind. I forwarded the message at the time. What was your immediate thoughts when you first saw it?
Oh, I was so happy. I mean, I've been wanting this to happen for a very long time. Um, Especially the moment I saw him push Viviana Miedema.
Mm-hmm.
That was something that I found abhorrent and disgusting and unacceptable. And the fact that the club didn't do anything, didn't release a statement, didn't do absolutely anything. And then what do? We give away for free Viviana Miedema, one of the players that could have probably been the first $1 million transfer ever, and we gave her on a free to Man City. With the excuse that we couldn't pay her and Caldente at the same time, which implies lack of funds. So if you need funds, why would you ever give the player that you can bank on or bank in, excuse me, why would you give them for free and all this other stuff? Obviously, I'm a musician. I don't know the business of football. So that's just kind of like at face value. But
Yeah.
I was deeply concerned about the players beyond the results. I was concerned about their well-being and what I felt as an abusive sort of footballing relationship. I am nowhere near sort of insinuating that he was an abusive man, physically or emotionally or verbally. But what I see when all he did was scream at Beth Mead, seemingly that she couldn't do enough, and the way that he didn't take ownership of anything. He would always speak in the third person. He would always say, well, the manager has to do this. He never said, I need to do this, and yada, yada, yada. So anyway, not even worth my energy anymore. I'm just glad that he's gone, and I'm very, very happy, and I felt very relieved. That is what I essentially differs from whenever, if Wenger was gone or Unai Emery was gone, I never felt like relief. This, I felt actual relief, like, thank goodness they don't have to put up with any more of this guy. Footballing wise or culturally, and I don't mean as a Swede, I mean his football culture, whatever he implemented, which clearly brought some dividends as far as 2 Conti Cups and stuff like that. But the overall metrics and the optics are negative. And I'm just amazed at how many people in our sort of content creation world were so, for me, irresponsible and negligent that they never stood up for the players. They always excused him. There was always something, because I think they wanted access to the club. And sort of be in good standing with the club and be the ones, why would I ever mess with a manager if I need them for a press pass or for tickets or whatever? I'm speculating. But I felt relief. And I'm curious to know what you felt, because you heard the news. I was sleeping and I woke up and I was like, great news. But I want to know how that jolted you through the day, or what you thought.
No, it's a good question, because obviously, like I said, I kind of, before I brought you in, I kind of looked at it 2 ways, really. I thought, it actually has happened, because the rumblings. I've spoken to supporters. They want him gone ages ago.
Yeah.
The only element of surprise for me was that he resigned so early into the season. So for me, that would tell me there's a carryover from last season, despite them winning the Conte Cup.
Yes.
Despite them winning it.
Do you think he resigned?
That papered over a lot of cracks for me.
Yes, and I mean, I'm with you, but I wanted to ask you also, do you think that he actually resigned, or you think he was fired and they were like, well, we're going to say you resigned just to not make it look bad?
If he was fired, what would make me believe that, and this is definitely on par with Wenger, in the sense that when it got to the end of Wenger's reign, look at the stadium and look at the fans. When you are seeing empty seats, that is an issue. You cannot continue with the manager in charge. That game against Chelsea, it was, the golfing class that day was palpable.
Yes.
The first half, it could have been more. Defensive, they were awful. They weren't moving the ball very, very well. And actually, I think they got off lightly with the score, Arsenal. I thought they did, personally. But you sent me a video, which was, to me, was key. And I'm sure, this was on the Arsenal website at the time. And I'm sure it's the second leg when they beat BK Hacken. I'm sure it was. You sent me the video, I remember. And I'm no body language expert. Anybody, even go and source it now if you want to watch it. when he was giving a talk to them players after that game finished, and I'll tell you now, look at the Arsenal women players that day when they listened to him talk. They were not playing for that guy. They are not enjoying the football. The message is going in one ear and out the other. And let me say it again. I'm not a body language expert, but for me, it was clear as day that his time was done. I don't know what you felt. I remember you showing it to me. I was like, no, they're not playing for him. There's no chance.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, for me, I could never, in good faith, question any of those players' love for the team and for Arsenal. I never ever felt that, even when the results weren't as good, I never felt that they didn't try or they didn't turn up or whatever. But they looked dejected. They looked sad. They looked, their heads were down. Literally, their heads were down, and they were just kind of like listening, no eye contact. And to me, it was clear that there was an issue there. And if you couple that with the football, with his way of playing and the inability to break down low blocks and yada, 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 there's these patterns. And I always wanted his replacement to be a woman. And if we had to go for any of them, obviously Sarina Wiegman's not available, Emma Hayes not available, Sonia Bonpastor I thought was the easiest choice. And no, you don't. You go for him, the very same person. And now that he's gone and we do have a woman in charge, look at what's happening. And it's night and day. And that relief has turned into so many other beautiful adjectives and describers for this thing that we're very lucky to have now. And I'm so happy that we don't have to deal with this person anymore.
Yeah, it was a relief, man. You're right. I can't dress it up. There's Arsenal fans I've spoken to that have much stronger words about Jonas than probably me and you, on camera and off camera.
Yeah.
It was honestly, I can't stress it enough. And people, I'll be shocked if there's any Arsenal fan that disagrees. The football was turgid. It was dreadful for the quality of players that the Arsenal ladies have. And you're seeing it now. We'll touch on our new gaffer, the coach, manager, what we want to call her. Hashtag the SLEGER'S. Yeah, it was, Demian, for the players, we're not talking about players that are part-time or have come up from the championship. You've got Leah Cadena there. You got Williamson. You got Amanda Illicet, obviously, who's now pregnant, or maybe she's had the baby. I'm not too sure. You got Katie McCabe. And I'm thinking to myself, something's not right here.
Yeah.
And Demian, you can't underplay what you're saying about the media mark. The players, if it's a popular figure, which she was, and she's treated the way she's been treated, of course that's going to have an effect on the team. Yeah. I'm surprised he wasn't gone sooner. I think for me it was a time. I was like, wow, like 4 or 5 games in the season. But like I said, bums on seats make a difference. There are people at Arsenal that have a senior position that are looking at thinking, this is not good.
Yeah.
So yeah. But Demian, listen, it's interesting to talk about wanting a woman to be the coach. I mean, some of the names that were touted with the job, there was the likes of Seb Hines, there was the likes of Laura Harvey over there, who obviously had been at Arsenal before. So when I heard whispers about Phil Neville, and I'm praying they were whispers at the time, because I was like, no, that can't happen. No,
yeah.
I would not be on board for that. You know who I wanted. Yeah. I've been very clear about that on the Highbury Squad and talking to you and Sophie privately. Let me ask you a question before we move on to the new sheriff in town. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, people. Let me be very, very clear. But obviously, Casey Stoney is now the new head coach of the Canadian national women's team, which is a big job, by the way.
Yeah.
That's not, this is not an also ran team. We're talking about Olympic champions in the past and compete at the highest level. Then obviously, she's got the job at the Canadian national team. And then obviously, I think there must have been a day in between. Then the next day we found out Renée Slegers is the new head coach. Demian, your thoughts? Firstly, why do you think it took so long for her to be appointed, if she was the choice from the outset, if we're listening to what Claire Wheatley was saying?
Man, what a great question. I don't know if what Claire Wheatley said is necessarily, if I don't know if it's PR or if
Yeah.
it's the truth. I don't know. I've met Claire. She's a wonderful woman. I don't think that she was necessarily the right the choice that they wanted from the get-go, because they would have appointed her immediately. You don't wait, because you think like, well, if Jonas is gone and she's her assistant and she's that good, she must have offers from all over. Let's just lock her up and let's do that. There's, I think, a caveat of what Renee had said herself, that she didn't want the job. She has a child and she has a family, and that's her priority. And she wasn't necessarily either ready or wanting to be committed. And I completely, utterly understand that. There is also, the Casey Stoney not being available, or maybe she didn't want to work with Claire or didn't want to go back with Arsenal and any of that stuff. And, by the way, going back to Jonas wearing that sort of brown jacket, overall coat, that's what Casey Stoney's thing was. That's like her thing. And then he just one day just starts rocking the same outfit. It's like, we can see what you're doing.
Yeah.
Anyhow, I'm very excited to. I'm willing just to turn the page and not think about like why it took so long and why didn't you announce this and why didn't you go for this one. The results have been unbelievable. So it doesn't matter. It's almost like I don't care. I don't care what happened. I don't care what we signed her. She's there. Just move on. I'm willing to forgive. I'm willing to forget some people or some things and move on. And boy, have we moved on. What have you thought about the team so far?
No, yeah, touch on Renee quickly. Yeah, I agree. I don't think I think in terms of the managers that were, I don't even necessarily think whether they were available or whether they wasn't. I mentioned it when I did the sort of the clip for Highbury Squad going through the managers. And the Arsenal job is a big job. It's a very coveted job. It's I'd say probably in terms of if you're going to talk about social media presence and just the quality of the players and it being London, and Arsenal's a big pool, man. So I can understand why they would probably not have looked at Renée Slegers as the first choice. But undeniably, Demian, you win. You win. Was it 12 out of 13 games, or is it?
I think 11 out of 10.
35 goals in 12 games. You can't ignore that. And I think they probably, I think they could have done it a bit earlier, if I'm going to be really, really honest with you. Because like I said, she's turned it around. She's brought, and I mentioned it in the clip I done just recently when she got the job, she's brought a calmness. You can see that when she's interviewed. You can see when she talks. And I think the Arsenal ladies needed that. I don't know what Jonas was like in the dressing room. I can imagine he wasn't a shrinking violet. I can imagine. But,
oh my God, yeah.
I think she should have been appointed a bit sooner. Like I said, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I thought it was interesting that Casey Stoney's got the job at Canada, and then the following day, or I think it was literally the next day. I'm sure it was Demian off the top of my head that Renée Slegers is appointed new Arsenal head coach. I think she's got it 20 till 25, 26 season. So I think you're going to see that a lot in football where you don't get necessarily massive contracts. You see that with the England manager job with Thomas Tuchel.
Right.
I think that's 18 months.
18 months, yeah.
Yeah, that's the way going forward. So listen, she's auditioned for the job brilliantly. I think she deserves, as a famous saying, as they say, Demian, she deserves a crack at the whip. And as I like to say, they've all nominated her. They've all put in our Slegers ball now in terms of the way Arsenal playing. But I'm going to throw it back to you, Demian, actually, in regards to what you've seen thus far, taking into account yesterday, which we'll touch on a little bit, not loads. One of the differences I've seen, and it'd be interesting to see what the comment section says when Sophie does put this out, and what I'm actually accusing the Arsenal men's team of as well. We're going to track that in as well. Arsenal are a lot better in the final third of the pitch. the ball's being moved quicker. Yesterday was a prime example, and I watched the game fully back, by the way. 1 touch, 2 touch, interchange, movement, Cooney cross, Marnham, Kim Little's in going into the 18-yard box even more unbelievably. What a surprise!
Yeah,
That is how you move opposition defenders out the way, or move them across the pitch, or break down low blocks. You have to move the ball quicker. You do. That's what the Arsenal men's team are not doing. Whether that's maybe that's a personal issue, but Arsenal have, we said this before them and come back to you, Arsenal have the attacking prowess to rip teams to pieces. So that's the observation I've seen. And obviously we'll touch on a certain individual a little bit later. But what's your thoughts, man?
I agree with you. I think the frustrating for me watching Arsenal men is that I keep shouting, "Shoot, you cowards." Right? That's what I keep saying. Like, just, you are a world-class footballer and you don't have the guts to shoot from outside the box.
Yeah,
like,
crazy.
What is going on? What is going on? And I feel that under Jonas, the girls were also not shooting, but you could tell that it was an instruction. That's what it would be. Like, you could tell, very pragmatic, very, that's how he thought. This is what he did, blah, 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 blah. If you didn't like it, you move away. And we can talk about later how I think that Renee is everything that this man fears, which is a strong, outspoken woman with a backbone, with a philosophy. Ironically, he hired her, and that's not what he wanted out of the players. Not Vicky Schneider, excuse me, Jordan Nobbs.
Yes.
Mana Iwabuchi, Jen Beattie, Viviana Miedema. It's a pattern of these types of women that are outspoken, that they transcend the sport, that he slowly moved them out. And then she comes in with, like you said, to borrow the term that you so well put, calm and peace and self-belief and composure. And that's what happens. You are calm, you breathe, you let the football do the talking, you take risks because you know there are no repercussions that maybe they felt with him, as far as maybe talking down to, or a different, whatever the sort of punishment, quote unquote, could be. It seems like she is more empathetic and understands more what the players want. And as far as the ball movement, it might be similar, but also there's a lot more shots. I think, from where I stand, I might be wrong as far as the stats is concerned, but more shots. Kim Little going into different areas, of course. And one of the things that I like the most, and I told you that there's a couple of players where I'm not too sure about, the fact that we now know what the starting 11 is, or her starting 11 is.
Well said.
That is unbelievable. As we know, the Invincibles had that starting lineup, and I think James Johnstone always brings it up that I think they only played like 5 times together in that whole entire season. But we had the idea of what the ideal 11 would be, and I think we're getting close and close and close, even though I think there's a couple of things that I would sort of do differently in a way. But it's looking really good. And again, I wake up not dreading if we're going to lose, not dreading if I'm going to write a blog or have to do a podcast about how much I dislike the manager. And I can, with my eyes closed, if I'm too tired, because I wake up for these matches at 4 a.m, 6 a.m, and if I'm too tired, I know I don't have to hate watch, things. I'm like, oh, okay.
Demian, let me come in quickly, because you mentioned about the lineup. I think when I look at the Arsenal squad, there is that ability to play through at the back, because you've got the footballers to do it. They're footballers. They can defend. Of course, they can defend. So that I'm going to put this on audio, because I can. I've got the audio on my channel, Albert JTV, but I'm going to obviously put it under, the tutelage of the Highbury Squad. But audio listeners, what we got up at the screen at the moment is a team lineup that started against Palace. Then I want to ask you. Obviously, you're happy with the personnel. You probably will make a couple of tweaks in there. How near would you say to what you would either like your first 11 to be, or what Renee's thinking in terms of your go-to first 11?
Wow, that's an amazing question. I think that definitely Leah Valti has to be there. To me, Leah Valti is obviously, if fit, right? Leah Valti is the barometer of this team. How she plays, the team plays. That has been, to me, very clear the past few seasons. If she's having a great season, Arsenal do great. And if she struggles, we struggle. Sort of the second player that I would put in that category would be Katie McCabe. I think she is a world-class, unique unicorn of a player. And that lineup, I would have obviously Fox on the right, Williamson with Catley and Katie McCabe if we were to do a 4-2-3-1 or whatever. But if we were to keep what you have right there, I think I would like to see maybe obviously Leah Valti there instead of Kiera Cooney-Cross, honestly, because I just love that partnership with Kim Little. Whether that has worked great or not in recent times, that's kind of debatable. And I would actually like to see...
So, Demian, just to cut in, sorry, because we talk about, I'm going to come back to you quickly, we talk about partnerships and relationships. And it just kind of hit me now. I look at that left-hand side of Arsenal. Is brilliant.
Yes.
On paper. They're talented anyway, but Catley's obviously, you know what I think of Steph Catley. We've had many conversations. You've got Katie McCabe in front of her who can defend, obviously, add the attacking element. And you've got Mariana Caldente there. That's a dream for a manager, to have that side of that partnership and that side of the pitch from a defensive and from an attacking point of view. Just bring you back in. Sorry, brother.
No need to apologize. I agree. I just don't know exactly like if the system is the right system. Like they were like for instance, I think that Beth should be our out and out number 9. Right? I think that Russo's great. She's having a really good season. But I also think if I had to choose one single player, it's either Beth Mead or Alessia Russo to be our number 9 or be the only attacking player if we have a player sent off, it would be without a shadow of a doubt Beth Mead. I think she's the best finisher. I think she's an incredibly intelligent player. I think she has that speed of thought. I think she has the, almost like street ball attitude and mentality. Whereas I think Alessia's a little more refined and a little less aggressive, at least from a body language standpoint. And I'm not convinced that Frida Manum is somebody that I
would
know exactly what her position is. Yeah, like I'm not quite sure. Like if it's Beth and Caldente on the wings and Alessia Russo as a 10 and Russo as a Frida Manum as a 10 and Alessia Russo as a 9, I much rather have another player be in the midfield and have Kim Little play as a 10, like what a lot of us think is her best position. So this sort of sacrificing of Kim farther down or deeper down the pitch instead of Frida sometimes I don't vibe with all the time. And what I will say is that I'd rather see Frida Manum than somebody like Kaylin Ford start so much in I went blurry for some reason.
I could see it, brother.
So I'm liking it. I'm really liking it. And again, we need to rotate the squad. We need the manager needs these headaches, but they are self-imposed. That players make her have headaches, not players just walking in because the player has a set of skills that are exactly fitting to what the manager wants to do, and there's no flexibility. And not to go as far as Thomas Partey at right back, but that's a whole different story.
No, we don't want to do that. No, but you know what? You make a good point, because obviously I think I sent you. They put it on Instagram on Arsenal Women's page. Renée Slegers press conference. She talks about the fun to work with the players, and you mentioned I don't think she's flexibility, but it was something along those lines. But you have that in this Arsenal side, and I would be, whether she decides to play Beth, for example, in a central position with Russo, because Russo's a willing try. She works the channels, but at least we can have that conversation, Demian, knowing there's a possibility it could happen.
Yeah,
that would never even been a conversation we could have had with Jonas in charge.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, there were times when he played Blackstenius and Russo together, but that was very, very few and far between. But Beth is finishing, and I get what you're saying about Marlon, because sometimes I think I don't know where you fit her in, but she's a finisher. Yeah. She gets you goals, and that's a very important commodity when you play in Frida Marlon's position.
Yeah, she shoots. She does. She says, "I'm gonna shoot from wherever I want," and she score some bangers, as we both know. Yeah.
No, but great stuff, man. Like I said, people, when you do watch this back, absolutely obliterate the like button, and like I said, drop your comments in below, because obviously it's been a while since we've done a women's show and a lot's happened. But I think the fact we're doing it when we've got a new gaffer in charge is, I think, is quite important, to be honest with you. But Demian, I want to talk about one particular individual. I sent you guys an article. I saw it as a week before Christmas, so 18th of December 2024, talking about. I'm going to get her up on screen. Let me give her the billing. Where's she gone? Alessia Russo. Before I bring you in, I guess for me, when she's at United or when I saw her play for England, I wanted to see her put the ball in the back of the net more. I think Ian Wright mentioned it. He wanted to see her be a little bit more selfish. Now, there's many different factors behind that. Maybe just being a striker and being selfish purely, or maybe it's your personnel and your teammates around you. But she is here. When I saw the article on the BBC at the time, 11 games, 11 starts, 10 goals. She's been phenomenal. Yes, we know she does the great stuff and working the channels and, giving defenders a nightmare. But I wanted to see her be a little bit more selfish and a little bit more ruthless when she gets the chances. For a little bit too wasteful, her and Blackstenius. But from sort of the back end of December, and obviously this season, she's been phenomenal, Demian, if I'm going to be really, really honest with you. And one goal I liked in particular, I have to say, out of the goals she scored this season, I thought the goal against Tottenham away was brilliant. Instinctive, bang.
Yeah.
Foot. Beautiful finish. But Demian, your thoughts on Alessia Russo this season, and is this a surprise to see the form she's ran into? Was this always in her locker, or do you think there's still maybe a little bit more marginal things to work on?
Wow, that's a really good question. I have no problems with Alessia Russo. I like her a lot. I think that as a foreigner, from an English perspective, I do see kind of like a favoritism of her over her. Like, everybody talks about her like she's, better than Ellen White or Kelly Smith or something. And it's taken her a bit to sort of like get to this form.
Yeah.
But I think it's a manager situation. Like, of course, she can score several goals against Tottenham or mid-table teams, but we need her to score against Chelsea, against Man City, against Man United. We'll see how that pans out. But I do think that, same with the other players, it was just the manager holding them back. And I think she's a perfect example. Like, where was this Alessia Russo before? Well, you didn't have the same personality brought out because of the player. We talk about the men's team, the men's sport all the time about, you need a manager that puts your arm around your shoulder and blah, 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 blah. Well, they need this too, They're not just like robots, and they need that push and that motivation, and maybe that's what she needed, somebody like Renee to be in her corner more or less and push her in a different way. We don't know how people are motivated. I think she's been stellar. I do think that the obsession with players nowadays are less specialized and they're more versatile. They can play kind of anywhere. And when we say that she could play as a number 10, or I'd rather have her as a 10 than a 9 for say, it doesn't mean that she is like a proper 10 like Van de Donk back in the day, or Aslani, or people like that. They're like, to me, Caroline Weir is a 10, There's not a lot of that, and I don't think that she has that in her play. But when you have a potential 4-4-2 formation, when you have two forwards, it plays different. So Jonas didn't even let her and Stina do that, really. And I just think that if it's working and it's getting us goals, it doesn't matter if I'd rather see Beth as a 9. This is working, right? But there's something to be said about me wanting a system where Katie McCabe and Beth Mead are rewarded with attacking opportunities and attacking situations in a system that rewards them for their attacking mentality and how they are, because I think they're very, very similar players. And if we have them up top, might be better than Caldente. Maybe Caldente can drop a little bit in midfield like she played for Barcelona. She wasn't a winger, you know.
Love Caldente.
She's so good. She's so incredible.
So good. You know what? And that game yesterday in particular, I got just audio listeners. I'm going to put a picture up of Alessia Russo's touch map against Palace. Like I said, she does work the channels hard. She does. I see her do it for England. I see her do it for United. She does it for Arsenal. But I think the one missing element was what we've seen more or less since that article I saw the week before Christmas, and the more than rich vein of form she's in. But now for her, this is, you don't want it to be a purple patch. You want it to be consistent. It wants to be a mindset thing and saying, you know what, I can hit the same amount of goals in the season as Sam Kerr and Bunny Shaw. I hope she's thinking like that.
Yes.
She should be thinking like that.
Yeah, you don't have a choice. You have to, especially as a 9, you want that. You know, I did the Highbury Squad show the other day with LeGrove, my dear friend Pete, and we're talking about a 9, and I mentioned how I'm talking about the men's game for a second. I always want my striker to be a mean mother effer. I want him to be somebody awful, right? So the current, like, Eddie Nketiahs and you know, Kai Havertz and Gabi Jesus and all these people, they're like, I want them to be my brother-in-law, right? Like, I would let my sister marry them and go, you know, father her children and go to Thanksgiving dinners and all this other stuff, right? Yeah. That's cute. But what I want is the guy that is dating my sister that's such a piece of shit that hits on my mom, okay? That's the kind of striker that I want. I want just, like, I'm not messing with them. Like, oh my God. Not to compare, you know, these hoodlums with Alessia Russo. But I don't get that fear. And that's like a thing that I had mentioned in the past with Caitlin Ford. It's a criticism that I had with Caitlin Ford, Lotte Wubben-Moy, Victoria Pelova, Kira Cooney-Cross, where I don't think anybody is losing sleep ever facing them, right? Mm-hmm. And I was ready to put Alessia Russo in that category.
Yeah.
But she has definitely proven me wrong. I do think that players go to bed and they do not want to face Beth Mead, Katie McCabe, for sure, Leah Williamson, Daphne van Domslar, obviously Kim Little, Leah Valti, the OGs. There's something to be said about that. And Alessia has, to me, moved on, graduated to that other category where I do think, like, people are being like, wow, we play against Alessia. She can do so many things. So maybe we need the right striker to partner her even more so she can do more, not just be burdened by scoring goals, but set, you know, release the Kraken in Katie McCabe and especially Beth Mead. And if I were to have one criticism of Alessia, there were several times that she just holds the ball way too long, and Beth is just ready to make those runs.
Yeah, it's got to be quicker. You're right. And we're talking about Katie McCabe. I think she's actually got the most assists this season for Arsenal, actually.
Yes.
And some of the crosses she's put in the box, just I was like, oh my God. Guy Lineker would have been he would have been on the end of some of them crosses.
Oh, exactly. He would have been like, you know, he's rubbing his hands, you know, already.
But yeah, it's been interesting to see them in sort of, obviously Renee's done a fantastic job. Renee Slegers done an amazing job coming in and calming the ship, and goals galore and good flexibility in the team and tactical tweaks in game management. That's the word I was looking for. Yeah. And you've got the players to do it. So it'd be interesting to see in terms of the partnerships and like we have it with Odegaard and Saka and Ben White, that trio and the interchange, and it was good. It's good to see. It's been a long time since I've enjoyed watching Arsenal women play, and that's just purely down to the fact that it's no coincidence a new manager's in charge. Yeah. Interim at the time, now the head coach. So listen, Demi, we've got there's a couple. We're going to wrap up soon, but there's a couple of important games coming up before we wrap up.
Yes,
I've done a quick look. Where's it gone? Jeez. So, in terms of the table, Arsenal obviously in second place as we speak. They are 7 points behind Chelsea. Goal scored 25. That'll rack up. The way they're scoring goals at the moment. Only conceded 5 though.
Yeah,
which is good going.
Yeah.
But yeah, the 2 games got coming up, Demian. Before we wrap up, I just had them a minute ago. They're playing tomorrow in the Women's League Cup quarterfinal away to Brighton, 7:15 kickoff, people. And we've got a small matter. Demian's already laughing. You know what's coming.
Yeah.
Sunday, the 26th of January, away to Chelsea, 12:30 kickoff, Arsenal. And you know what? As well as Renee's done, this is the one we're looking out for, Demian, as Arsenal fans.
Absolutely.
Big up to the Arsenal fans again. The away support is immense. They have to get a shout out. But Demian, this is the game. I'm like, okay, Renee, you've done brilliant so far. This is the game. This is the one I want to see how far this team have come. Because we can't say when they're not going to the game with confidence, because they should be.
Yeah.
But Demian, yeah, obviously we've got a game tomorrow, but I sort of want to look a little bit ahead. I'm going to be really honest.
Yeah.
Against Chelsea away. Nightmare going there last season. Everything was embarrassing that day, from buying kits, buying socks from the club shop, whatever. But Demian, this is huge.
Yeah, I think it's huge. And at the same time, she has a get out of jail card that is interim and the thing and the situation and then going to the thing and that but you've had X amount. Well, she's still interim and she took over after a toxic environment. So I'm willing to give her somewhat of a pass, whatever happens with this match.
Yeah.
However, if this was Jonas, I would tell you that there's no way we could ever win this match.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I can't doubt the squad with the players that we have and or getting a result with the players that we have. However, now, again, another however, with her at the helm, with the players that we have, playing how we're playing, I believe that we can at least get a draw, if not win.
Yeah.
Whereas prior to this, I would not be as confident. And we need any result that we can get. As you know, they have 31 points. We have 24. If we're able to chip away this and they're able to drop some points against maybe Man United or Man City or, Villa, West Ham, whoever, they're not unbeaten, obviously. They're not unbeatable. They are currently unbeaten, but they're not impossible to beat. And that's what you do. You got to beat them, even though I don't love the idea of to be the best, you have to beat the best. That's always maybe whatever, you can beat Man City, but if 7 of their starters are injured, did you beat the best? No. And you can't really quantify that. I do feel very confident that it's going to be an amazing game and where it's going to be even, at least from a bias perspective, whereas it wasn't like that last time this happened.
I'm trying to get some of Chelsea's their team lineup. I can't get it at the moment, but it's gonna be a big game, man.
Their squad is absolutely insane. What they have, what they do. I mean, the lineup. This was against West Ham. Yeah. Hampton on goal, Neem Charles, Millie Bright, Bjorn, and Lucy Bronze, the best ever. Cuthbert, Newskin, Beaver Jones, Macario, Baltimore, and Myra Ramirez at the top. And if you look at their bench, it's just absolutely insane. They even their backup keeper, Musovic, would start in any team.
Yeah.
Ridiculous. Kennerid and Lawrence and Guru Wrighton, of course. And by the way, I told you how the team ended. Yeah. But you have all these players, it's just.
But you know what? I'm impressed with. I'm really impressed with the names you ruled off. I've seen her more play now in the last year and a bit. Is Neve Charles?
Yeah, solid.
Very, very,
solid.
very, very, very good, man.
Yeah,
very good.
Solid player, and we have our work cut out. But the good thing about, to me, when I see specifically Chelsea, if you have Charles and you have Lucy Bronze, obviously this goes both ways.
Yeah.
You have a player in Beth Mead that knows them, has played against them. You have a player like Alessia Russo knows them, have played against them. Same with Leah Williamson, where we might be able to sort of take advantage of that. Obviously, it goes the opposite way. But they're stacked, but we're also stacked. We don't have to use Wenger's phrase of the parking brake. We don't have, not a parking brake. We don't have a locked up garage in, Jonas Eidevall. We have a different manager with different vision, with players playing differently. So yeah, bring on Chelsea. I don't care. Let's go.
I think it's good time. Yeah, I think the way Arsenal's results have gone of recent months, I wouldn't have said it a few months ago. Trust me, it is good timing. But Arsenal playing well, man. They are playing well, playing some really good football. I enjoyed watching that game yesterday. Tough for Palace. You come up from the Championship. The step up is it's hard. But fair play to them. They didn't park the bus. They were quite offensive. But big game Sunday. Big game. But Demian, listen, we have gone through a lot, people. Highbury Squad, the Arsenal women's show. I think it's our hat-trick show now, Demian, I believe.
Yeah,
so.
I think so. Yeah.
Right,
yeah, we
right
do
foot,
more.
left foot header. Yeah. So but people, when you do watch this back, I will put this on the audio actually, so you can hear it on the audio as well as watching it on YouTube. So one of the good things about Spotify and Apple, man.
Oh, you gotta love it.
or wherever you get your podcast. But
yes,
I want to thank my amazing co-host Demian. I've missed you. I love you to pieces.
Love you as well, my friend.
And tell it what will you be doing next, and where can the people find you?
You can find me. I'm only basically on Instagram these days at Demian Arriaga. There you go. And if you want to hear any of my Arsenal women content, you can do so by looking at that Arsenal Women podcast all over Spotify, Apple, yada, yada, yada. And also, even though I don't write every day, you can still revisit some of my old blogs at thatarsenalwomenblog.com. And more importantly, tell us where we can find you, my friend.
Thank you. I love that little segue into myself.
Yeah, man. You're the content master, man.
Of course. My Twitter handle at AUMO57. Of course, YouTube channel name, Albert JTV. That's where you can find me, people. So come and subscribe to my channel and subscribe to Demian's channel and blog. And also, most importantly, people, subscribe to the Highbury Squad.
Yes.
And get them likes up. But people, we have a new sheriff in town. Hashtag SLEGER'S ball, the gaffer, the coach, the best. Big game Sunday, big game tomorrow, big game Sunday. Let's keep that momentum going up. And people, that is the Arsenal Women's Show with Albert JTV and Demian Arriaga. Over and out. See you soon, people. Squaddies! At ease. At ease.
Mind the gap between the train and the platform. Please stand clear of the discussion doors. The next stop is Highbury Squad.